The chapter begins at the Federal Bureau of Hunters Association office, where Michael, Connor, and Norma Selner are seen apologizing to David Brennan. Mr. Brennan, however, responds that he did not call them to listen to their apologies and that he only wanted to know what had happened. Michael then speaks, mentioning that based on Ms. Selner's observations, Sung Jinwoo is one of the kings. Mr. Brennan is taken aback by this statement and asks if they mean to say that Sung Jinwoo is as powerful as a national-level hunter. Ms. Selner responds, saying she will explain. She starts her explanation by saying that all awakened beings draw their power from a place called the other side, and she can sense the connection between them. Occasionally, the force from the other side becomes so intense that some awakened individuals appear as streaks of blinding light. These individuals are usually referred to as kings. However, in Jinwoo's case, she could not sense any connection. When she looked into his eyes, the darkness within him stared back at her. She shudders as she recalls this and says, "He was darkness itself." Upon hearing this, Mr. Brennan pauses and asks if she's implying that Sung Jinwoo is an evil being. Ms. Selner clarifies that she is not trying to label him as good or evil. She is merely describing the source of his powers. She explains that his strength does not come from any external connection, meaning the usual limitations of the connection do not apply to him. Michael added and says, "There's no limit to his powers." Ms. Selner nods in agreement. Mr. Brennan stands up and thanks Ms. Selner for her time. Michael then asks where Mr. Brennan is going. Mr. Brennan answers that he is heading to basement level 24 and invites Michael to join him. As they descend in the elevator, they continue their conversation. Mr. Brennan mentions that if they cannot use Ms. Selner's abilities to recruit Jinwoo, they will have to find another way. He asks Michael if he remembers the first S-rank gate that opened. Michael replies that, of course, saying how could he forget the most catastrophic dungeon break in history? The entire West Coast was devastated, and the U.S. had to recruit the world's strongest hunters by offering a huge reward. Out of all those hunters, only 5 survived the raid. Each one was given authority equal to a nation, which birthed the title of national-level hunters. He recalls Kamish the dragon, also known as the Inextinguishable Flame, a magical beast that single-handedly obliterated hundreds of top-ranking hunters. As they near the basement, Mr. Brennan suddenly speaks up, asking if Michael would believe him if he said there was a silver lining to that tragedy. Michael, confused, asks what he means. Mr. Brennan responds, "You bet I am," as he opens the door to the basement. A cloud of smoke billows out as the door opens, and Mr. Brennan says, "See for yourself." Inside the room is a runed stone, which had been found at the corpse of Camish. Mr. Brennan explains that it has been 8 years since the Camish raid, and there has yet to be a mage-class national-level hunter. This runed stone has been waiting in the cold basement for its rightful owner to arrive. He adds that Camish will bestow a valuable gift upon the country, as seen in the enormous dragon bones. Meanwhile, at Jinwoo's home, he stands in front of a mirror, thinking about how, since his reawakening, he has grown taller and more fit. But he questions whether he is truly all that now. He's pretty sure his looks are still just average. He wonders if this change is due to the buffs he gained from the will to recover, which states that any damage to his body will be restored. This might explain why his skin has cleared up as well. Suddenly, he calls for his sister, Gina, and asks her to rate him. Gina, confused, asks, "In terms of what?" Jinwoo replies, "In terms of attractiveness." Gina asks where he got this sudden confidence from and says he looks like a bum, in her opinion. Annoyed, Jinwoo grabs her head, and Gina kicks him away. Jinwoo snaps back, telling her that if she keeps kicking, she'll break her leg. He reminds her that he has an S-rank hunter's body now. Jinwoo, in a playful mood, questions how someone like Gina could even get into school. Gina, not missing a beat, counters, asking if Jinwoo is serious because she's literally at the top of their class. Jinwoo, however, quickly retorts that those were only mock exams. Afterward, Jinwoo shares that he plans to form a guild. Gina asks if that means he will be the big boss. He answers that, if everything goes well, that's the plan. Meanwhile, Gina chats with Han Song-yi and tells her that her brother is starting to lose his mind, thinking he's attractive. Jinwoo, curious, asks Gina what she thinks about the name Solo Player Guild. Gina, surprised, asks if he's joking and why he would think that's a good name. Jinwoo questions whether it's weird, but Gina explains that he summons dark soldiers with his abilities, so technically he isn't a solo player. Jinwoo admits that she has a point and asks her what name she would suggest. Gina suggests, how about a Jin guild? She explains that means I, and Jin means to go forward in Chinese characters. She adds that she chose this name because it's her name backwards. Jinwoo considers the suggestion and says, not too bad, actually. The scene shifts to Hae-in's house, where she is shouting in her room, unable to sleep. She keeps thinking about how she confessed her feelings to Jinwoo, saying, I think so. In her mind, it felt like she had admitted that she liked him, and she can't stop thinking about it. She remembers his response, that joining his guild was not the best option, and asks if there is a better way. Suddenly, she exclaims in frustration, thinking that Jinwoo might think she's crazy. She jumps up, telling herself that, of course, she would be interested in him because he saved her life. She tries to reassure herself, but then quickly covers her face with a pillow, realizing everything she said feels completely wrong. She starts to think about how she survived because of Min Byung-goo's abilities. Then a memory resurfaces. She recalls seeing her soul and hearing a voice. She recalls the image of Hunter Min Byung-goo pulling her to safety and is pleading words for her to tell Jinwoo to be careful of the power within him. The chapter ends with Hae-in suddenly rising from her bed, overwhelmed as she recalls the memory of Byung-goo's words and the images that flooded her mind.